Joining me right now is Texas Republican Congressman and House Judiciary member Louie Gohmert. Louie.
Hey, Trish. Great to be with you.
Good to see you, Congressman. All right, wow. So they loved it. They thought that Adam Schiff was just terrific and, you know, really has the upper hand. What are you hearing behind the scenes? You know, not the media. What you know? What are you really hearing? And be honest here.
Well, first of all, when I hear one of them say Adam Schiff really knows the facts, that's a condemnation of Adam Schiff because he's not giving the facts. Nor is Jerry Nadler. Nadler started out exactly like he did his speech as chairman of Judiciary in our Judiciary hearing, where we had no witnesses other than some law professors that were willing to sell them souls. But he has not been providing truth. And as Nadler said, you know, gee, the facts before us are undisputed. As I said right after that in our hearing, the only thing more disputed than the facts in this case are the chairman's statement that the facts are undisputed. They are very disputed. These people are lying. And when they keep talking about the president said he has absolute authority to do whatever he wants under Article 2, that is just so dishonest. They took it out of context, and they keep misrepresenting the facts. So it's very tough to sit there. I was there with them till 2 a.m. This morning. I've been there for much of the argument today, and I know some of the alt-left media, otherwise known as mainstream media, were talking about how mesmerized, how you know, transfixed even the Republicans were as Adam Schiff was talking. Well, I saw a number of big yawns. When Schiff made one comment, there were 6 people that stood up and walked out into the cloakroom at the same time. They're not mesmerized. And it never helps, as they did last night, to insult the people. I mean, as a former trial lawyer and judge, as a judge, I watch the juries a lot more. When you see a lawyer insult the jury and the jury sees they're being insulted, it's never a good thing, and that happened last night.
That's a really good point. You know, there was a lot of drama. I was joking earlier about Adam Schiff auditioning for his community play, you know, maybe trying to even make it to the musical Hamilton. He mentioned Alexander Hamilton so much, so clearly that was on his mind. But, you know, they're talking about this as a demise of the republic if you do not convict. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of high stakes. How do you interpret that?
Well, I interpret that as being a gross misstatement, and if Adam knows the facts, then that is an outrageous statement, because the fact is, if the Senate votes to remove Donald Trump from office for something that is not a crime at all, it's not a high crime, it's not a misdemeanor crime, it's not treason, it's not bribery. I mean, at least with Clinton, bribery was a crime. If it's not a crime, then, as some of our legitimate professors pointed out, then what you have is a disagreement over constitutional powers. And if Congress does not go to court and get an adjudication before they find, and then the president denies that, doesn't do what he's ordered to do,
then it's obstruction of Congress.
Then you can remove them. But otherwise, it is the end of our republic if the Senate votes to remove, because then it means you can remove a president for just a simple disagreement.
I know. You can say it's abuse of power, right? You can just fling that term around.
We have a prime minister instead of a president.
Totally.
And that would be the Democrats doing.
I'm really troubled by all of it. I mean, to the obstruction of Congress argument, for goodness sakes, they weren't willing, Congressman, to take the time to actually do the proper due diligence, to go to a judge and say, hey, let me subpoena John Bolton and actually try and get him in. They just slammed it through as fast as they could, and now it's like sour grapes. Now they suddenly want, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry and all these people that they could have called.
And the lying to say, well, look back at the Obama administration. They turned over tens of thousands of documents on Fast and Furious. It took 7 years through the courts to get some things turned over, and they want to point to that. Well, yeah, you should have gone to court. You should have gotten an adjudication. And short of that, you're creating a prime minister parliament rather than our constitutional republic that we currently have. It's very, very dangerous.
Congressman Gohmert, very good to see you. Thank you very much.